But all that pressure everybody went under because of me, that kind of gave me the guilt trip, and I turned that into motivation. Try to be successful so I can retire my parents, pay them back, and I did just that. And 2 weeks before my 14th birthday, my dad decided to, just take off and avoid me going to the army, because at age 14, they basically, you cannot leave the country and you gotta submit to an army.
Okay.
And that's pretty young age. And seeing what happened to his brothers, he didn't want me to go get killed or get injured. So 2 weeks before my 14th birthday, we decided to leave Iran, went to Turkey, was able to get a visa, and we came to US. None of us spoke a word of English except my dad. My dad had been to US before, and he was educated, and luckily he spoke English. But I took 3 hours of ESL for the first 2 years in high school when I was here from 14 to 16, because I didn't speak any word of English. So pretty challenging upbringing, because we didn't have any money. We ran out of money. We ended up living in a car for a few. But all that pressure everybody went under because of me, that kind of gave me the guilt trip, and I turned that into motivation. Try to be successful so I can retire my parents, pay them back, and I did just that. Yeah, after many different failures early on. But yeah, it's been a very interesting journey, and I'm happy to share it, because I know there's a lot of immigrants that come to this country for the American dream, and they get discouraged after a couple of failures, and that was exactly me. But look at me now. Oh, my parents wanted me to go to college, so I attended 2 weeks of college, IBC. It's in Irvine. And then I realized, everybody's monkeying around, throwing paper at each other, pens, and I'm like, I showed up there with a briefcase, I'm like, wearing a suit, I'm ready to make money. Really? Yeah. And then after 2 weeks, I quit, and my mom didn't talk to me for like several months. She was very depressed and upset. But I was eager to make money, right? So at age 18, I started my own business, selling nuts door to door. That was my first business. It did great until health department fined me. They said, hey, you gotta have health permit every time you repackage food for resale, and I didn't know that. So I closed that, and I had about $20,000 saved. And then I realized, maybe I should put that to work. And one of our friends used to sell gas stations.
Okay.
Because at 20 grand, you could buy a mobile gas station, because you get, 90% financing. I'm like, really? Yeah, I was I think 20 at the time. So we opened escrow. I put my $20,000 in a bank, gave me a loan officer, turned out to be a con artist, and I lost all my money. So that was my first real failure, back to zero. Because it's one thing not having money and not making it, but once you make it and then you go back to zero, it's a hard landing,
What were the skills that you developed at this early time that other people should be learning from? Because I definitely think one that sounds like selling. And another thing you did, which I thought was amazing, is that if you're seeing someone that has something you're interested in, you asked. It sounded like when you saw these people bringing nice cars, like, what are you doing? Because then I can maybe copy what they're doing.
I would say definitely be curious. Always ask questions, be a sponge. Even now, I'm always on Google, YouTube. I'm always learning what's going on, what are the trends, what's happening. But always surround yourself with people that are more successful than you. And also be curious, always ask questions. And I would say, take a sales position in anything, because when you do sales, you're interacting with people, you learn a lot. Everything almost in life is sales, So that would be my advice.
How do you think being an immigrant impact your success, especially early on?
Well, I think the hunger, coming from another country, you feel you're in a new environment and you want to prove yourself. You're also learning, right? Because you don't know the environment, you don't know how the business works, the system works. But more than anything, I think just the hunger in me, because I was rock bottom. I didn't have any place to go but up, and I think that was what created that drive in me, And a lot of people take that freedom, resources, friends, being able to speak English, all that for granted, because they're here, right? But if you take all that away from you, you get really desperate.
Yeah,
real quick.
How do you think others can benefit that aren't immigrants with that mentality, or how can they What were some of the discrimination or challenges you faced?
Oh my God, I can go on that one. Camel riders, that nigga. Oh, okay, no,
Really?
Well, oh yeah. Well, back then there was still a lot of discrimination, especially towards Middle Easterns. So I used to work at Kmart. My first job was at Kmart at age 16. I was mopping floors, collecting shopping carts, and I used to always avoid walking my cafeteria because they used to call me names. So I used to go around, But luckily that period's over. U.S. is now primarily a lot of immigrants. So it's a lot less now, right, than 40 years ago. But it was tough. A lot of name calling. Sometimes life gives you challenges, or sometimes people cause challenge for you, right? You can either accept it and get defeated, or you can prove them wrong, So I turn my doubters or haters now into my followers.
Thinking about that, and how did you get clear on that?
I just looked at people that were around me that were successful. Like, when I was at Winston Tire, I used to see people coming there with Mercedes convertible, a few times Ferrari, but a lot of Porsches. So early on, to me, success was having a convertible Mercedes, and that's the first car I bought when I made money. But I didn't even know there is a Bugatti in existence. I didn't know what Bugatti is. But then when I got, years later, I got involved with higher caliber friends that had Bugattis. I'm like, wow, I learned, how much technology legacy is behind the story behind Bugatti, Ettore Bugatti that built Bugatti. Then I started building a passion for cars, and they're like fine arts.
Yeah.
And so your dream keeps growing with you as long as you have the drive in you to grow.
What's your definition of the American dream?
The definition of American dream is you can just wake up in the morning and decide to take off for 2 months anywhere you want to go in the world and not have to worry about paying the bills.
And do you think this still exists?
Of course. I mean, if you really want it bad enough and you're patient, anyone can do it. I believe that. But you got to have the drive, you got to have the hunger, and you got to have the never give up mentality, because surely you're going to get to a point you're going to have a dead end and you're going to have to make a U-turn and find a different route.
How do you define success for yourself? Because I think when a lot of people see you, they say success, but I've always thought success is actually an internal measurement. So I'm curious how you think about it, or how you would decide it.
Well, to me, success is having the freedom to choose what you want to do when you wake up and being able to give back, which I think I've achieved. So, it's not how much money you have in the bank or how much is your net worth, it's being able to have the freedom.